The movie opens with a furious young man named Billy, hammering away at a punching bag with all his strength. In the background, fragments of news reports talk about overpopulation and dwindling resources. Billy is already 23 years old, yet he still lives with his parents in their modest little home. His mom and dad constantly worry. Their son has no ambition, no goals, and just drifts through life without caring about the future. They keep pushing him to finally move out and start an education. But Billy insists he's perfectly fine the way things are and doesn't want to change a thing. Eventually, they reach a compromise. His father promises to cover part of his rent for the first year if Billy moves out. His mother suggests they revisit the conversation later that evening. So, after breakfast, Billy, who is already short on money, stops by a cafe for a macchiato. He asks the barista to make it with extra foam, but instead gets something that barely resembles the drink. Billy is annoyed and demands his $4 back, since that's not what he ordered. The barista smirks and arrogantly claims that in their small town, this is the best coffee Billy will ever find. After a long back and forth, Billy leaves the drink behind and storms out, still without his money. At work, Billy is busy tinkering with his van, installing something underneath it. His boss scolds him, demanding that he work on the client's cars instead of his own wreck. Billy tries to explain that it's his lunch break, and besides, he's already exceeded today's quota, but the boss doesn't want to hear it. Later, Billy drives his beat-up car to meet his paintball buddy Evan, who is waiting in the parking lot. Evan mocks the car, saying it's so bad it should just be burned. Billy laughs it off, explaining he only paid $300 for it, just a temporary ride until his van is finished. Then he hands Evan a weapons catalog as a gift. Evan is surprised, thanks him, but admits it wasn't really necessary. He also passes Billy a few packages that had been delivered to his house. Evan warns him not to do that again, since his father has started asking questions about what's inside, and he's had to make up excuses. The two friends head to a local fast food place, but the worker takes their order with such an attitude that it feels like she's doing them a favor. This irritates Evan, but Billy keeps him calm, reminding him about their paintball game in 2 days and telling him not to be late. Just then, the waitress drops their food all over them, mutters an annoyed, "damn," and walks away without apologizing. She later returns with napkins, saying coldly that refunds aren't possible, though she can bring them fresh meals. Evan gets angry, but Billy convinces him to let it slide. Over lunch, the two start debating modern consumer society. Evan takes a radical stance, saying the rich waste resources and produce nothing, while Billy disagrees, admitting that he wouldn't mind being rich himself and enjoying life. That evening, Billy once again faces pressure from his parents, who want to continue the talk about his moving out. He says he's not hungry because he already had chicken earlier, and suggests they discuss it in the morning. His parents insist, but Billy confidently tells them that tomorrow morning he'll give them news so exciting they'll be thrilled. Later that night, locked in his room, Billy picks up Neil T. Anderson's The Bondage Breaker, a book written to help people deal with anger and frustration through faith in Christ. After reading for a while, he turns to the packages Evan had given him. Billy lays out his airsoft gear and reinforces it with level 5 armor plates made of alloyed steel. He then pulls out stacks of counterfeit $100 bills and begins assembling electronics for remote control. On his computer, a video from Evan's personal website is playing, where Evan rants about his frustration with society. Billy memorizes the speech word for word, repeating it in perfect sync with the recording. The next morning, over breakfast, Billy announces to his parents that from today he's going to prepare for college, planning to study mechanical engineering. His parents are overjoyed. At last, their son seems to have found a purpose. But the moment they leave for work, Billy loads up his magazines, suits up in his homemade armor, grabs 2 rifles, and even strikes a few poses in front of the mirror. He parks his old junker in the woods, switches to an unregistered car, and drives to the town's only police station. Waiting outside is the same van he had been tinkering with earlier. With a remote control in hand, Billy sends the van straight into the station. The officers peek inside, spot the explosives, and within seconds, a massive blast wipes out not just the building, but nearly an entire block. Billy then heads to the town center, firing at anyone in his path. Patrol officers return fire, but their bullets bounce uselessly off his improvised body armor. When their guns click empty, Billy takes them down with ease and continues forward. In an alley, a terrified girl tries to hide. Billy notices her, calmly greets her, reloads his weapon right in front of her frozen stare, and pulls the trigger. He keeps moving, storming into cafes and opening fire on customers cowering under the counters. Billy makes his way to the coffee shop with that same arrogant barista. He reminds him about the macchiato and demands a fresh one. At first, the man doesn't grasp the threat, so Billy's tone turns sharper, making sure the message gets through. When the barista finally realizes the danger, Billy, feeling satisfied, gives him 5 seconds to run, then shoots him in the back as he tries to escape. Next, Billy enters a beauty salon, orders the women inside to gather in the corner, and takes off his helmet, admitting that the armor is suffocatingly hot. He drinks a couple of glasses of water and leaves, only to return moments later with a chilling smirk, saying he never should have shown them his face. He then eliminates everyone inside. From there, Billy heads to a bingo club filled mostly with elderly folks. He orders a sandwich and an iced tea. The frightened worker immediately says it's on the house. This actually lifts Billy's mood. He exchanges a few polite words with the worker, calmly finishes his meal, and leaves the place without laying a finger on anyone. But soon, he storms into a bank. At the entrance, he takes out the guard and forces everyone to the ground. One brave man lunges at him from behind and nearly overpowers him. If others had joined in, they might have stopped Billy right there, but no one does, and Billy quickly finishes the fight with a knife. Enraged, he opens fire on several cashiers before ordering the manager to empty the safe into a bag, promising to spare his life. Billy walks out with the money, leaving witnesses behind. Only later do we see his real plan. He places the bag in his trunk, swaps it for another filled with counterfeit bills, and then sets the fake cash ablaze right in front of the bank staff. While the flames rise, he loudly repeats Evan's speech about the worthlessness of money and the idea that all people should be equal. After this stunt, Billy drives off to meet Evan for their paintball match, just like they had planned. On the way, his worried mother calls. She tells him about a maniac wreaking havoc in town. Billy reassures her, claiming he's at home sleeping and never even went to work that day. Meanwhile, a sheriff from the neighboring county arrives in town with his deputies. Billy walks into the same diner where he and Evan once had lunch and coldly takes out the very waitress who had spilled food on them. Just then, Evan calls, complaining that he is tired of waiting alone in the woods. Billy reassures him, saying he is already on his way. On his drive, Billy leaves canisters of nitroglycerin near the town entrance. When the sheriff and his men drive into the trap, an explosion rips through the road. 2 deputies are killed instantly. The sheriff survives, however, and launches a desperate pursuit. In the forest, Billy ambushes him, stabbing him, and whispering with chilling calm that he has exactly 8 seconds left to live. Finally, Billy meets up with Evan. Seeing his bulky armor, Evan jokes that now he understands why he had to wait an entire hour. Suiting up in that metal must take forever. Billy then shows him a bag full of cash. While Evan inspects the money, Billy suddenly shocks him with a taser. Billy slips a pistol into his hand and fires a shot, staging the scene to look like the inevitable ending we all can guess. Afterwards, Billy returns to his old car, changes clothes, burns all the evidence, and drives home. His parents, seeing him safe, breathe a sigh of relief. Billy then informs them that the authorities have named the shooter. It was Evan, who supposedly died in the woods. His parents are shocked, but his mother, a psychologist, admits she always suspected something was off about Evan. Later, Billy hides the stolen money in a suitcase, keeping just one bundle for himself. The news reports that packages with armor plates had been delivered to Evan's house, along with a weapons catalog, the very one Billy had given him. Investigators are now certain that Evan was guilty. Billy, meanwhile, smiles with satisfaction. His plan worked perfectly. But then comes an unexpected twist. Evan's father shouts to the police that all the packages were actually collected by Billy Williams, insisting that Billy is the real culprit and demanding they search his house. Terrified, Billy quickly packs his belongings and flees the city, vanishing from his parents' lives just as they had once wished. 2 years later, a video appears online. Billy himself speaking, saying his so-called friend was nothing but an empty talker, and that only people like him are capable of bringing real change. And in the chilling finale, Billy says that one day, people will thank him, because he has freed up a little space in this world. There are still 2 more parts of this movie to come. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. New parts will be out very soon.